Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Voices of Rondo Youth podcast. My name is Moises, along with my fellow host here.
My name is Javier Soto.
My name is Erica Lee.
So today we'll be discussing the Clarksdale, Mississippi trip that HSRA took in partnership with the Mississippi-based nonprofit. We will also be diving into music and civil rights history and how that connects Clarksdale to Rondo. Mm-hmm. So I think before we get into that, we'll show you the video in case you didn't see it.
There we go.
Yeah, Keith didn't believe me when I told him about it.
About what? About
that
these?
These were hotel rentals down
Oh, yeah.
we stayed in.
Yeah, dude, that's insane.
Isn't it?
This is bizarre as hell. And they got like a little like, oh, what?
They're profiting from.
Yeah. They're the quarters where people used to stay who worked the fields. And this was a site that was an old cotton gin where they spun the cotton automatically, and put people out of work. This was one of the very first sites that put people out of work in the cotton fields and created the Great Migration. Turn around
So
here.
crazy.
Yeah, look at this.
So that was the video. Now, I didn't go down there, so I think it's more, well for you guys to discuss it. So would you guys?
Right. So just to give a little bit more context to that video. So me and a handful of high school for recording arts students took a trip down to Clarksdale, Mississippi a few months ago. And one of the places we visited was the Hopson Plantation. And on the Hopson Plantation sits a white-owned business called the Shack Up Inn. And so basically like I said, it's a white-owned business, and they have refurbished and used former sharecropper homes, and they have turned them into homes that people can rent and stay in. So I just want to pause right there. So we should talk about that. What are your thoughts about that?
There's not much to say other than the fact that it's just kind of overall terrible. I feel like even then that's just an understatement.
Right.
Given all the history, all the families and people that have gone through those homes and, lived there, been there, lived their lives there. And now it's just kind of like that history is almost being extorted.
Right. What do you think, Moises?
It's disgusting. It's just like the way they just use those homes as just like they're profiting off of that.
Right.
Like that's where people stayed when they worked as sharecroppers for little to no pay, and that's just like profiting off of trauma.
Right, exactly. I agree with you. I think it's disgusting how these sharecropper homes, it's filled with black pain and black trauma, and is still wet from the blood, sweat, and tears of these people, and it's being owned by white people, and they're profiting off of that. I think that's like utterly disrespectful, more than disrespectful, and like the way that I see it, I think that it should be owned by the black community. I think that it should be a place of mourning. I think it should be a place where we can go to learn about our history and to honor our ancestors and to honor everything they went to so that we can be here right now.
Yeah, it should definitely be a museum that a place to remember that history.
Exactly.
And not sleep in it and not profit off of it.
Yeah, the way they're I guess the way they have it set up, it's almost like it never happened. Like they're just not acknowledging the fact, that what these are, what this means to these people. It's like that just means nothing to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if the people who stay there know what it is. Do they know?
There's no possible way you can. I mean, you're hundreds of feet from a cotton field.
We didn't talk about that. There's literally a cotton field there.
Yeah, you're right. For the aesthetic.
For the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Just to keep it historically accurate, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if the people when you get them in there, do they bring that up? Or is it oh no, this is our property?
Right, and even on the website, it doesn't mention that those homes are former sharecropper homes. It doesn't even mention that. So it's they don't want people to know the real history of that. They don't. No.
So the Hopson Plantation originally was kind of where it's not where they originally manufactured it, but I believe it's where they started introducing it into farming.
Yeah, it was one of the first places where the mechanized cotton gin started up.
And that eventually led to sharecroppers losing jobs, which caused the Great Migration, which caused everything else. A lot. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of history that's gone into just that one place.
Yeah, and they were struggling to begin with, and like now that they're out of jobs, they just had to go north to industrial jobs.
Right. So the black community was losing jobs from this. So we had to go up north and out west to find jobs, to find ways to make money to support us and our family. And so one of the main ways of the migration was using the highway systems. Like, for example, the Hopson Plantation sits right by Highway 49, also known as the Great Blues Highway, which was a huge outlet that the black community would use to migrate from Mississippi and the Delta region down there.
But now you bring up the point that they used the highways to get up, but it was dangerous for them to do so because the infrastructure surrounding the highways, the services, did not serve them. They had to go specific locations or just keep going and it was dangerous.
Right. And then also, I think it's important when we're talking about highway systems, I think it's really important to mention how a lot of them were built using prison labor.
Yep.
And then you also have to factor in how black and brown people have been historically and still are being mass incarcerated. And then you also have to factor in how the 13th Amendment says that slavery is still legal as a punishment for crime. So the point that I'm getting at here is that the prison industrial complex of the United States of America was created to continue slavery. It's a modern day slavery.
Yeah, I didn't learn that in school.
Me neither? No.
You'll never learn that.
Never.
No
No,
one will
they
ever
won't.
learn that.
No,
Yeah.
not at
They
all.
will continuously try to bury that and just sweep it under the rug.
And so let's ask the question, so why exactly was it dangerous for the black community to use these main road systems and highways? This kind of brings us into the conversation of the Green Book, if anybody wants to introduce that.
Yes, so there were many towns along the highways known as sundown towns where at night, once the sun went down, African Americans were not allowed outside, or else they would be assaulted, lynched, killed, murdered, humiliated. But I want to bring this to a person who I think is a national hero, who should be taught in schools, a man named Victor Hugo Green. He was a person from Harlem, New York. He was a postal worker, and he saw this in his own city, New York City, and he made a thing known as the Green Book. And the first publication only included the New York area, but year after year included more and more of the U.S., and the whole U.S. was covered. And I think in Alaska, only one location served African Americans in the entirety of Alaska. But anyways, that really helped African Americans go through their country and be safe doing so.
Right. So basically,
and it was the earliest highway safety guide ever. And it was a guide that African Americans to safety.
Right. And so like you said, the Green Book was created as a guide to guide the black community as we traveled across the United States, especially in the South. And so the Green Book listed different various barbershops and restaurants and hotels and guest homes that would serve the black community and were welcoming to us. And then it also listed places that we should be wary of and we should stay away from, like such as sundown towns, like you explained, were towns where black people couldn't be seen out at night once the sun set because they would be beaten, arrested, lynched. And
I believe there are some here, no?
Yeah, exactly.
In this state.
Yeah, exactly. When I first heard about what a sundown town was, I thought they only existed in the South.
Right.
But doing more research, they actually existed all over the U.S., especially in the Midwest, especially in Illinois. And Minnesota even had some of our own, such as Edina and St. Louis Park, and many more, I'm sure.
Right, many more.
Right. And then also, along with that, though, there were places in Minnesota that the Green Book listed that were welcoming to the black community, such as the Avalon Hotel in Rochester, Minnesota.
I know for a fact that growing up, I genuinely thought sundown towns were a myth. I did not think those were real. That I was told that they weren't real. Specifically that never happened.
Yeah.
Those didn't exist. What do you? Whoever's teaching you that is just wrong. And now, having been down to Clarksdale, even being here, knowing that sundown towns existed in my general area.
Right.
It was just, it's sad. It's saddening.
Right, because how could a whole municipality just ban a people at night?
And you have to remember, a lot of this history has been, they try to cover it up. So I'm sure there's a lot of records that we don't have about many other cities that were sundown towns that we don't know about to this day.
Thank you for watching our podcast. If you like what you see, give us a like hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell to get notified when we put out new podcast episodes.